Okay, good.
Okay, we've been doing some lathe classes lately, and we've noticed that there's a lot of chattering when we're machining, turning specifically, not so much when we're facing. But so what I did is I tightened up. There's these bolts on the side. These tighten up your Gibs, and then there's also some bolts here, socket head cap screws to be specific, that tighten or tilt the nut on the lead screw in our cross slide. So when your tool bit's tightened in there, you should be able to grab this whole assembly. You got to hold the lathe down because you'll lift the whole thing up, and there shouldn't be any kind of movement, and there was. So I tightened all that up. It's on the wiki. The equipment wiki has all this information. It's called mini-lathe, mini-lathe.com. This guy gave all these tips for tightening things up. So let's take a look at it and see how this works. We do have a little bit of stick out with this piece. Come in. The handles are tighter. You'll notice this when you use the lathe, so be careful. If it gets too tight, we'll have to loosen things up, but it takes quite a bit of force to move things because everything is very tight against the Gibs now. So I'm going to touch off. Okay, I'm touching off. Zero my collar. Actually having the lead screw or the screw tighter makes it easier to set the collar now too. And I'm going to dial in a pretty decent cut here. We're going to go 20 thousandths on the dial here. I think that ends up being, looks like about a 20 thousandths cut. And then I'm going to engage the powered feed here so you can see what happens. Look at that. That's a pretty heavy cut for this lathe. We were getting all kinds of chatter before, and now we're not. So looks like we just had to tighten things up a little bit. Chamfer that.
Brush, not a rag.
Yep, brush on a rag and not your finger. You want to rip your fingernail off. Alright. Okay, so that's the lathe. Much better now. A little harder to turn, but much more rigid for machining. Alright.